You've probably heard of Adidas and Puma, two of the biggest sports brands in the world. But what if I told you they were started by two brothers who became bitter enemies? Adolf and Rudolf Dassler grew up making shoes together in Germany, but their relationship was torn apart by World War II, accusations of betrayal, and personal grudges. This is the shocking story of how two Nazi brothers went from working side by side to battling for control of the sports world. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates. Let's get started. A family torn apart by greed and war. The story of Adidas and Puma isn't just about shoes. It's about two brothers whose rivalry became so bitter that it divided an entire town, shaped global brands, and left a legacy of hatred that lasted long after their deaths. Adolf Adi Dassler and Rudolf Rudi Dassler were born into a poor German family in the early 1900s, in a small town known for its shoemaking factories. Their father worked in one of these factories, but money was tight, so their mother ran a laundry business on the side. The brothers, known as the Laundry Boys, would deliver clean clothes around town, but their lives would soon take a dramatic turn. When World War I broke out, both brothers were drafted into the German army. By the time they returned, Germany's economy was in ruins, and their mother's laundry business had collapsed. Desperate to survive, Adi, who had always been fascinated by sports, came up with an idea. He believed that specialized running shoes with spikes could give athletes an advantage. So he turned their mother's old laundry shed into a workshop. With no money or materials, he scavenged battlefields for leather from helmets, parachute strings, and anything else he could find. Since electricity was unreliable, he even rigged a bicycle to power his tools. Adi's handmade shoes quickly gained a reputation for quality, and soon his charismatic brother Rudi joined him in the business. Rudi was the salesman, charming local sports clubs into buying their shoes, while Adi focused on perfecting the designs. By 1924, they officially founded the Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory. For a while, it seemed like the perfect partnership, until politics, war, and personal betrayals tore them apart forever. Rise of the Nazi regime and the 1936 Olympics. As the Nazi Party rose to power in Germany, sports became a tool for propaganda. The regime promoted physical fitness as a way to strengthen national pride and prepare for war. The Dassler brothers, eager to grow their business, joined the Nazi Party. While some claim this was just a business necessity, evidence suggests they were genuine supporters. Rudi was particularly vocal about his Nazi sympathies, while Adi was deeply involved in the Hitler Youth. Their big break came in 1936, when Germany hosted the Olympics, the first ever to be televised. The brothers saw it as a golden marketing opportunity. If they could get Olympic athletes to wear their shoes, it would be free advertising on a global scale. Their most daring move? Approaching Jesse Owens, the African-American sprinter who was one of the world's best athletes. Sponsoring Owens was risky. Hitler saw the Olympics as a way to prove Aryan superiority, and a black athlete winning would shatter that myth. But Adi was determined. He gave Owens a pair of custom running spikes, and Owens went on to win 4 gold medals, wearing Dassler shoes. Hitler was furious, but the brothers' brand gained international attention. Orders poured in from around the world. Behind the scenes, however, tensions were growing. Rudi believed he was the reason for their success, thanks to his sales skills, while Adi thought his designs were what truly mattered. Their arguments grew louder, especially when they were forced to live in the same house with their wives and children. The stress of the business, combined with personal clashes, pushed them toward an inevitable breaking point. The birth of Adidas and Puma. When World War II erupted, the Dassler factory was converted to produce boots and weapons for the Nazi army. Adi, with his manufacturing expertise, became the key figure in operations, leaving Rudi feeling sidelined. Paranoia set in. Rudy became convinced Adi was trying to push him out of the company. One night, during an Allied bombing raid, the families took shelter in the basement. As explosions shook the town, Adi muttered, "The bastards are back again." Rudy was sure the insult was directed at him and his wife. From that moment on, their relationship was beyond repair. When Rudy was drafted into the army, he grew even more suspicious. He sent a letter demanding that his wife take his place in the company while he was away, but Adi refused. The hatred between them became so intense that Rudy reported Adi to the Nazis, accusing him of hoarding leather meant for the war effort. Adi was briefly arrested and interrogated. After the war, the brothers faced denazification trials. Rudy was imprisoned for a year, convinced that Adi had tipped off the Americans to get rid of him. When Rudy was finally released, he testified against Adi in his trial. Though both were eventually cleared, the damage was done. In 1948, after months of bitter negotiations, they split the company. Adi named his new company Adidas, a combination of his nickname Adi and the first part of his last name, Das. Rudy initially called his company Ruda, but soon changed it to Puma, believing it sounded more powerful. The town they lived in became divided. Adidas employees on one side of the river, Puma employees on the other. Schools, friendships, and even marriages were split along brand lines. Locals called it the town of bent necks because people were always looking down to check which shoes someone was wearing before speaking to them. The feud that shaped sports history. The rivalry between Adidas and Puma wasn't just business, it was personal. Both brothers were determined to destroy each other. When West Germany competed in the 1954 World Cup, Adi struck a deal to supply the team with his shoes, featuring revolutionary screw-in cleats for better grip in the rain. Against all odds, Germany won, a victory known as the Miracle of Bern, and Adidas became a national symbol. Rudy was furious. He missed his chance, and Adi's success only deepened his resentment. The feud escalated. At the 1968 Olympics, rumors spread that Adidas had bribed customs officials to block Puma's shoe shipment, forcing athletes to wear Adidas instead. The next generation only made things worse. Adi's son Horst and Rudy's son Armin took over the companies and continued the battle. In 1970, they secretly agreed not to sponsor Pelé, the world's greatest footballer, to avoid a bidding war. But Armin broke the pact, paying Pelé $125,000 to wear Puma boots at the World Cup. Before the match, Pelé famously knelt to tie his laces, ensuring the Puma logo was seen by millions. Brazil went on to win, and Puma's sales skyrocketed. Horst was livid. The feud was reignited. The legacy of hate. By the 1980s, both companies were struggling. They had spent so much energy fighting each other that Nike surpassed them. Adi and Rudy never reconciled. Even when Rudy was dying of lung cancer, Adi refused to visit him. When Adi died 4 years later, they were buried at opposite ends of the same cemetery, forever separated. Today, Adidas and Puma are global giants, but the town where it all began remains divided. The brothers' rivalry shaped the sports industry, but it also destroyed the family. Their story is a reminder of how ambition, jealousy, and pride can turn siblings into lifelong enemies, and how a feud that started in a small German laundry shed would change the world of sports forever. And that's the story of how two brothers turned a family feud into a global rivalry. Now here's a question for you. Do you think their success would have been as big if they had stayed united? Or was their competition the key to their legacy? Let us know in the comments.